Good evening and welcome to this regular meeting of the Lakeville Area Schools Board of Education. This meeting is officially called to order. Board members in attendance tonight include Chair Baker, Director Kelleher, Director Shinley, Director Lind, Director David Anderson, Director Carly Anderson, Director Thompson. The board is joined by Superintendent Dr. Doug Van Zyl and members of the Executive Cabinet, Brenda Albrecht and Dave Haveman. So we'll go ahead and get started with the first call to order that we have, which is the roll call and election of officers. We'll start with the election of board chair, and we'll ask for nominations for that role. Director Thompson?
I nominate Kim Baker.
Okay. Are there any other nominations?
I'd like to nominate myself, please.
Okay, so we currently have two nominations. We have nomination of Kim Baker and the nomination of Director Kelleher. Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? And final call, are there any other nominations for the role of chair? Okay, hearing none, we'll put it to a roll call vote. Kim, would you call out board members, please? Election of chair.
Kim Baker.
Are we doing roll call one at a time then, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah, just for
Well-
Baker.
Just for Baker?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I
I thought each person
I think last year we
says-
did.
Last year, we
individual
just
names.
voted on the two nominees and just took who was the majority, so it would be voting on either Director Kelleher or Director Baker for chair.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know,
Correct.
which way, because we can do it either way.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
Kim Baker.
Kim Baker.
Judy Kelleher.
Kim?
Kim.
Baker.
Okay, so we have 6-7 for Baker to remain as chair. So we'll move on to the election of vice chair. Do we have any nominations for vice chair?
I nominate Dave Anderson.
Okay, so we have a nomination of David Anderson. Are there any other nominations?
I'll nominate Carly Anderson.
Okay, we have a nomination of Carly Anderson. Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? And final call, are there any other nominations for the role of vice chair? Okay, hearing none, we'll put it to a roll call vote. Kim, can you go down the list in a different order this time so we can do vice chair? David Anderson?
David Anderson.
David Anderson.
Carly Anderson.
David Anderson.
David Anderson.
Carly Anderson.
All right, for the election of vice chair, we have 5 to do, so that role will go to David Anderson. All right, we'll move on to election for the role of clerk. Do we have any nominations for that role?
I nominate Bree.
We have a nomination of Bree Shinley for clerk. Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? And final call, are there any other nominations for the role of clerk? Okay, hearing none, we'll go ahead and do the roll call vote for that one too, just to follow procedure.
If there, well, with no nominations, you
You
don't.
don't have to?
No.
Okay, all right. I was
Yep.
just going to do it to follow procedure, but that's fine. Congratulations, Bree. You are the new clerk. The final role that we have is the election of the treasurer. Do we have any nominations for treasurer?
I nominate Brian Thompson.
We have a nomination for Brian Thompson. Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? And final call, are there any other nominations for treasurer? Okay, Hearing none. Congratulations, Brian Thompson, your treasurer. All right, so the recommended actions that we have to vote on tonight, we'll start with item A, which is the compensation and mileage for board members for 2024. Okay, so based on what we discussed at the working session, it seemed like that the majority of the board was in favor of reinstating compensation for the year. We also were discussing if there would be an increase with that. So I'm going to open up the floor for discussion on that with board members and see if anyone wants to make a motion based on board compensation. Director Thompson?
I think there was some good dialogue earlier. I do know that, there's a lot of reasons why board compensation goes up, and having it comparable to other districts, other schools that might be comparable to our size, and as well as intangible benefits for future candidates or whoever it may be. Again, like I said earlier, the state of Minnesota does allow board members to be compensated up to $20,000. We are currently at about $6,500-ish or so. And so I do feel that, for the amount of time that board members are allocated to these roles, it is substantial. You're looking at 5 to 10 hours a week on average. And like I've shared earlier, you're sitting at about roughly 500 hours in a given year. If a person works 40 hours a week, that's 2,080, and add an extra 500 hours on top of that. So with our current board compensation, with 6,500, divide that by 500 hours, you're looking at about $13. And so for future candidates to be able to have time off for, babysitting or whatever other miscellaneous expenditures, I think there is value for increasing board compensation. And so, like I shared earlier, the top 7 schools, average compensation is about $13,231. And so before I make a motion for that, I'll pause here and then listen to others for any other thoughts that you might have.
Director Shenley?
I do agree. I think that the raising it would be a good discussion. I mean, down the road. I think reinstating it now, would be, but us having that conversation so we can discuss it a little bit further, I think would be a good compromise at this point. But I definitely think that reinstatement is something we should do, and then really talk about the increase as a serious discussion as coming up, because it's worthwhile for sure.
Any other comments?
Yeah, I've just shared that I think we should reinstate at our former amount.
Okay. Considering the dialogue that we had before, do we have a motion to reinstate the board salary as it was originally set for the year at, I'm pulling for the number,
6750.
6750.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion by Director Carly Anderson. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Director Kelleher. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, we'll put it to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Okay, so we have 2 noes and 5 yeses, if I heard that correctly.
Yep.
Did you get that, Kim? Okay. All right, so we'll go ahead and move on to item B, which is the designation of the official school district publication. Right now, we have The Sun This Week for the 2024 year.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Director David Anderson to set The Sun This Week as the school district publication. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Director Lind. Any further discussion on that? Okay, hearing none, we'll put it to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries 7-0. All right, the next item that we need to work on is designating the district legal counsel. Right now, we have Squires, Waldsberger, and Mace, Ratwick, Rozak, and Maloney, and Kennedy and Graven for 2024. Do we have a motion to approve the legal counsel that, as it is stated here?
So moved.
We have a motion by Director Lind. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Director Kelleher. Any further discussion on the legal counsel for the district? Director Thompson?
Yeah, this is one that I'm not well versed in yet. We've got 3 law firms that we're allocated to. Last year we spent $83,000 for expenditures. I am not ready, and I would like to learn more on this particular topic.
Director Lind?
May I remind you that we had an email today explaining what each of those 3 law firms do? They're totally different areas. That's why we have 3.
I'm not sure that was the nature of your question, though, was it?
No.
What was it?
Can
He
you,
just said he wasn't ready to make a decision.
he just said he wasn't ready to
Oh,
make it.
okay.
Superintendent Van Zyl?
The only other thing that I would add is that, as I shared with you, one of the law firms is because of past litigation that's still going on. We really don't use them a whole lot. It's more special education related. So it probably will at some point be condensed, but since down to 2, but since we have been using them, we feel like we need to note that we've been using them. So we have to make sure that they're something that's approved by you. So at some point, it probably will go down to just 2 recommendations. But since we have that 3rd one in there from past litigation that they're still working through, that's why we make that recommendation to you.
Any further discussion on the attorneys? Director Thompson, can I ask specifically what you're looking for? You said you're not ready to vote on this. What information are you specifically asking for?
So for the 3 that we have, I think I'm looking for understanding the rates around what we're being charged, the $83,000 that we spent. But more importantly, I think it'd be good to make sure that we understand the 3 law firms that are representing us and making sure that there's alignment in those firms with us. So, whether it be going through a RFP process or anything of that nature, I guess I don't have enough information right now. Last year we did this because we were in a position of new board members and we just approved them along the way. And so I think at this time, I am not ready to move forward. So that'd be my point of view.
Okay. Any further discussion on this item? Okay. Hearing none, we have a motion and a second on the table. We've had discussion around this, so we'll go ahead and put it to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
No.
So is that, who all voted no? 4. 4 no, 3 yes.
Really?
Yep.
So you have no law firm representing you?
As of right now.
Correct.
Okay.
Unless there's another motion to approve part of the law firms and not all of them. Director Thompson?
I'll make a motion to approve Ratwit if they are in current litigation with an existing scenario.
What was your just comment was?
Oh, I'll make a motion for approving Ratwick, Razik if they are in current special education litigation right now. Are we in a current litigation?
Well,
with
you
them?
have another group that's also in litigation that's covering you. You have the Walsberger, Squires Mace is covering you on litigation on another case as well. The Kennedy Graves is really the only one that doesn't necessarily have litigation. They're the folks that do your financial bonding.
Yep.
But the other 2 are in have litigation from past that they're covering you in. So if you choose not to approve either one of those, I don't know exactly how that plays out for you. I don't think it plays out well not to have legal counsel,
Not to have our
just being
district
brutally
protected.
honest.
Okay.
Director Thompson?
So then I'd make a motion for a 30-day approval for current law firms that we have in place until we learn more.
Director Carly Anderson?
Do we know anything about, I don't know, like how long it takes to figure out who a law, I mean, I feel like we need to, I have no idea how long it would take to hire a law firm. Like, what does 30 days mean?
I would like to amend Thompson's to just current cases or litigation.
Dr. Van Zyl?
The two firms that are on here would, again, being still fairly new to Minnesota, you have one of the firms on here represents a majority of the school districts across the state of Minnesota. So I don't think you're going to get a more reputable school district attorney law firm to cover you. The second one is also very reputable. I would tell you that the special education litigation is, I think, why they were selected, again, prior to my arrival, because of the person who was working on that, and that is your Radwick, Rozak, and Malone. So those are the two that are very, and Kennedy and Graven, nothing against them. They're just the people that do the bonding, because that's what they're specialized is. There are areas of interest and specialization in legal counsels, and that's why I believe that your district in the past, and why I, even in my short experience with them, all have been outstanding in doing what they need to do. Their job is to protect you. There's not anything that they're doing that puts you at risk. Their job is to prevent you from being at risk. So I'm not exactly sure what the hesitation on what they do or how they do it. And $83,000 in legal fees as compared to having a case that's going to cost you much more than $83,000 if you don't have legal counsel. There's several districts that you mentioned when you were talking about compensation to have in-house legal counsel, which is much more expensive than $83,000.
Director Carly Anderson?
Yeah, I just want to be mindful of protecting the district, and so I feel like if we make some sort of amendment, it should be more significant than 30 days. Obviously there's more to discuss here. So I feel like we need to make sure we're covered.
So if there's concern with the attorney firms that we're using, I would still recommend voting these in and designate them as our attorneys so that we can continue our cases and figure out where to go. But then we should have a study session that discusses this and figures out what the next steps are. But I don't think we should go without having a safety net of firms on hand for a district this size. And I don't think you guys are aware of how many lawsuits and times that we have to engage attorneys and firms. And even when we did have our former HR director was an attorney, we still used attorney firms because they're needed in their specialties and their knowledge of what is being handled. So I think we need to be responsible and make sure that that's, if you want to look at the attorneys, we should do that, but not without having any on board right now.
Director Lind?
If we vote no on this, we're opening ourselves up to some major possible legal issues by not having representation. If there's an issue with any of these firms, I think for now we should vote that all three in, and if there's an issue, let's deal with it. But I was totally shocked to find out that we're going to all of a sudden dump all our legal people. So I'm not ready for that. So I think we should approve it, and if there's issues that need to be brought up in a work session, let's do it. But let's not.
I think the hesitation is that, and I can only speak to my opinion on that I do have some concerns. I would hesitate to vote to approve it unless we put some kind of a stipulation on it that we are going to open up that process and put it to bid to see, what other law firms are out there, what are they representing, and just to do a little bit more research around it. But that's just my opinion. I can only speak for myself.
I agree.
Any other board members can speak to that.
See, my question I have is, what's the issue? I don't know what the issue is. And we need to discuss that before you decide to terminate law firms, in my mind. So let's have a work session, put it on the next session. Let's find out what's going on here. So I recommend we go back to the original proposal and vote on it again with the stipulation that we're going to have a work session to find out what the concerns are and then move on from there as a board.
Dr. Van Zyl?
A couple of things. Number one, 83,000 is what you spent last year. You're only at 21,000 for this particular year. So I think that's also speaks to some transition from a superintendent to other people in different positions and the use in those particular areas. I do also believe, and we can go back and double check, you don't necessarily have a contract, to my knowledge, with these folks that stipulates that there has to be a year-long worth of engagement with them. So you do have the ability, I believe, to make those adjustments in regard to if there is a question or a concern in relation to the services that they've been providing, if that's something that's there. So I don't think there's anything that stops you from making a recommendation on a firm tonight and then making an adjustment later on. I, again, would remind you that a couple of them are in litigation, so you're going to be connected to them because I don't think you want to change horses midstream on litigation. I think that you already got several cases that are multiple years old. I think that would delay them even longer in that process. And I can get you some more legwork and some more information on exactly what that means. Not being made aware of it, I don't have any of that information for you tonight that there was even a concern.
That's why I
with any of
amended
them.
the motion.
Pardon?
That's why I amended the motion, and I agree with you.
I didn't remember your motion, so I apologize, Dave, if I...
To work
Yeah.
on cases or litigation that's currently in process.
Director Thompson?
Yeah, so then what I'm hearing is then if there is no contractual agreement, from my understanding, from what you just said, then the ask is then, Terry, we'll discuss this in a working session for next steps, but with the approval of all three then. Is that what I'm understanding?
What do you say?
I'm sorry, I didn't,
I think so.
yeah, okay.
Yes, that's
Yep.
what Terry, your motion is to approve all three of them with the understanding it will be reviewed at a work session.
Right.
Okay, so we have a motion from Director Lind to approve the legal counsel for the district as stated here with Squires, Walsberger, and Mace, Ratwick, Rozak, and Maloney, and Kennedy and Graven for 2024, with the understanding that this will come through a work session for the board to further discuss legal counsel and for the district to provide more information to us. Is that correct? I get that?
Yep.
That's a big motion. All right, do we have a second for that motion?
I'll second.
Second by Director Carly Anderson. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, we'll put it to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Motion carries 6-1. All right, next item on the agenda is, there's actually several because we have like some other bullet points there, but we'll start with considering organizational matters related to business office functions. So the first item on that is designation of the official depository for the school district funds and investments. The recommended that the financial institutions as specified be designated as official depositories of the district for 2024 per statute 123B, point 14, subdivision 4, Wells Fargo Bank and Brokerage Services, LLC, Fidelity Investments, U.S. Bank System, PMA Financial Network, Inc., and Minnesota School District Liquid Asset Fund. I really don't want to repeat all of that. We have a motion to approve, all as stated, for the official depositories for the school district funds and investments.
So moved.
All right, so we have a motion by Director Lind. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Director Schindley. Any further discussion on those institutions or businesses? Hearing none, we'll put it to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 7-0. The next one that we are talking about is authorizing the Executive Director of Business to use facsimile signatures for checks and use of last year's plate. This just provides that the Executive Director of Business to stamp things so that when a board member is not available, we can still pay our bills, basically. So do I have a motion to authorize the executive director of business to use the signatures for checks?
Make a motion.
Motion by Director Kelleher. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Director Lind. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries 7-0. The next one that we are voting on is the authorization of the superintendent or executive director of business to make short-term investments and to perform the duties of the clerk and treasurer. Again, that's because the members that are in those roles are not here at all times, so that keeps the business of the district flowing. Do I have a motion to authorize the superintendent and the director of business to make those short-term investments and perform those duties of clerk and treasurer?
So moved.
All right, we have the motion by Director Carly Anderson. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Director David Anderson. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 7-0. All right, for the next item, we have to authorize the superintendent and the executive director of business to lease, purchase, and contract for goods and services within general budget categories. Do we have a motion to approve that?
I motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Director Schindley and second by Director Kelleher. Do we have any further discussion on that item? Okay, hearing none, we'll put it to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 7-0. And finally, the last item that we have for that would be the authorization of the superintendent or executive director of business to utilize wire transfers of investments and payments. Do I have a motion to approve that?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Director David Anderson. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Director Carly Anderson. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 7-0. All right, so we have completed all of the items on our agenda for today. We still have some items that we're going to, sorry?
No,
It's
it's not on here.
It's not a motion, it's just, yep. Having completed all the items on the agenda, I'll ask for a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
All right, we have a motion by Director Carly Anderson. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Director Lind. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll put it to a vote. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for being present for our school board meeting and have a wonderful evening.